Hello there. Are you familiar with the Grand Canyon? Have you heard of the Grand Canyon? Do you know what the Grand Canyon has to offer? If you answered no to any of these questions, I'm here to help. My name is Kaylin and I will be your tour guide at the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is noted as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world that attracts many people from all parts of the world to unite multiple cultures to one unique area. Over millions and millions of years of erosion from the Colorado River, the inside of the canyon is painted with many different shades of red-orange that are only a reminder of its long history of beauty. The erosion has caused the canyon to stretch up to 277 miles long and an amazing 18-mile width, as well as being 1 mile deep. The size of the park is about 2,000 square feet. Although the words snow in Arizona are rarely used in a sentence together or even thought of by non-native Arizonans, it does in fact snow at the Grand Canyon because of the elevation jump. Other than the wonderful views of the site, it is also home to dozens of species of animals that include bison, bighorn sheep, elk, mountain lions, ringtail, Gila monsters, lizards, snakes, birds, and so many more. It is also home to many different species of trees, shrubs, ferns, and cacti. The Grand Canyon is located in northern Arizona on the Navajo Reservation. Because of this distance, the Grand Canyon is also a staple in Native American culture. Contrary to negative belief, there are many activities to do at the Grand Canyon that are not just limited to looking at a hole in the ground. One of the main activities at the Grand Canyon are to visit some of the museums and historical sites, such as the Watchtower, the Hopi House, and Kolb Studio. The topic of this tour will be the sites at the Grand Canyon, and the theme will be the history of the sites. Design a building that would become part of its surroundings, one that would create no discordant note against the time-eroded walls of this promontory, is how Mary Coulter described her creation of the Desert View Watchtower. The Desert View Watchtower is also known as the Indian Watchtower at Desert View. It is about 70 feet tall, located at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. It is located at Desert View, about 20 miles from the center of the national park, otherwise known as Grand Canyon Village, where other amenities are located for your convenience. The Desert View Watchtower was completed in 1932. It is a 4-story structure that overlooks a section of the canyon, and from it you can see as far as the horizon goes, which is where the Navajo Reservation is located. The design of the Desert View Watchtower is in the style of the ancient Pueblo, but surprisingly, it was not created by the ancient Pueblos. The Desert View Watchtower was created by the amazing American architect Mary Coulter, who was referred to as the architect of the Southwest. Coulter spent about 6 months researching archaeological prototypes, ancient Pueblo designs, and their construction techniques before building a model of the site. She did not model the Desert View Watchtower after just one building, but instead, she modeled it after multiple buildings. Then she took inspiration from the multiple buildings she has visited. Coulter is also responsible for the designs of other buildings on the premises of the Grand Canyon. The way the Desert Watchtower is laid out is that the building is composed of a circular tower with a base that was designed to mimic ancient ruins. The main space of the Desert View Watchtower is the Kiva Room, which has salvaged logs from the old Grandview Hotel that roofed the Kiva Room. At the top of the 4th floor, there are many windows that oversee the vast distance of the Grand Canyon. There is also a door that leads to the outside balcony, which gives the viewers a panoramic view of the Grand Canyon without the interference of windows. The next stop is the Hopi House. It is also located on the south rim of the Grand Canyon. The Hopi House was also designed by Mary Coulter, and it was built in 1904. A similar idea was used to create the Hopi House to the Desert View Watchtower, in the sense that it was not made by the Hopis, but it was created to mimic the traditional Hopi pueblos. Coulter got her artistic inspiration from Hopi structures in Arribe, Arizona, located about 100 miles east of the Grand Canyon on the Hopi Reservation. What makes Hopi House unique is that the native Hopis lived in the Hopi House while they made and sold the traditional Native American arts and crafts. The Hopi House is made of sandstone. The second floor of the Hopi House is a dedicated shrine called a kiva in traditional Hopi culture, filled with religious artifacts sacred to the Hopi people. The Kolb Studio was constructed in 1904 as a home for photography, studio, and theater for the Kolb brothers. The Kolb Studio is one of the earliest tourist businesses at the Grand Canyon, where the Kolb family lived and worked to establish an important role in the park's national history and tourism. The brothers operated a very successful photography studio for well over 75 years. They shaped how the Grand Canyon is viewed through the eyes of a tourist through their spectacular photographs. Ellsworth and Emery Kolb were one of the earliest photographers who specialized and focused on national park tourism. The brothers lived in the Grand Canyon with little amenities and made do with what they had during the hot summers and freezing winters. Of course, digital photography is a recent development, so the Kolb brothers used film photography. The brothers used their ingenuity to utilize an abandoned mine shaft to create a functioning darkroom. Eventually, they graduated their small tent to a cabin. Then they built a dedicated building just for their darkroom lab over the years. As time passed, their darkroom grew larger and larger until it was big enough to hold multiple people and be used as a gallery for visitors to view their photographs and watch their darkroom process. These are just a few examples of the sites at the Grand Canyon and a brief history of each of the spectacular monuments that the wonderful national park has to offer to its visitors. These sites are nothing short of beautiful and have a deep-rooted history within the park that show how far it has come in terms of visitor and historical development. These sites offer a little something for each visitor, since no visitor is alike. The Desert View Watchtower tends to the visitor who is interested in architectural design. The Hopi House tends to the visitor who is interested in Native American culture, arts and crafts, and overall appreciation for the many Native American tribes that the Grand Canyon is close to. The Kolb Studio tends to the visitor who is interested in the more contemporary arts, such as photography, with a throwback to the Kolb brothers, who were pioneers that began the era for some of the first national parks professional photographers.